2 minutes till broadcast.
What's going on, guys? Welcome into it here on a Monday, kicking off a brand new week here. Ready for it? Let's do this thing. We got a lot to talk about today, obviously, because it was a weekend of chaos and stupid all over the place, right? So, let's have some fun with it. Bottom of the hour, coming up on the show today, Andrew Handel. He is with ALEC. For those of you that don't know, the American Legislative Exchange Council. We'll talk about school choice as we're coming out of school choice freedom or school choice week. We have that. We have, yes, we will talk a little bit about the ridiculous Grammys last night, even though I did not watch them. Did you? Also, we have the balloon incident and more. Always happens on a weekend. All the time. Also, I'm fighting a wicked cold. This is ridiculous.
1 minute till broadcast.
It finally hit me, man. Finally hit me. Drive me nuts. So, we'll get to all that and more. Hopefully you've had a wonderful weekend yourself. Maybe it's going to warm up from now on. Maybe, just maybe. If you are watching on some of the live streams, then welcome aboard. Happy Monday to you. Like it out, share it out, leave that comment. Break the algorithms on social media. Let's have some fun, man.
30 seconds till broadcast.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Helps if I actually get one of the live streams up. Trying to get back in the groove of things, all right? What's up? Yeah, welcome. All right, if you guys are on, like it out, share it out. Hang tight. Radio program starting momentarily.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Republicans right now, the conservatives, which unfortunately, this is what we have to do every time, even after a vote where people are sick and tired of the establishment, they're sick and tired of the squeezy, middle-of-the-road, squishy kind of Republican rhinos, and we vote conservatives in, then we have to fight tooth and nail in D.C. to actually be heard within the Republican Party.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
All right, it is. Welcome into the program. Boy, what a day it has been for the first day of the week. Are you exhausted yet? And we have a lot to talk about. Welcome into the show. This is the Voice of Reason. I am Andy Hooser, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station. We are all over the country, radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. However you watch or listen to the program, we love you to death. Appreciate you very much, very, very much. Your Millennial General reporting for duty like we do every single day, although I am not at full capacity today. It finally hit me, man. After weeks of fighting it, after weeks of trying to prepare myself, after weeks of making sure I don't get this garbage, it finally hit me. The cold has officially sunk it in, man, and it is brutal. Brutal. Half the team at the radio station was out over the last couple weeks. All the meetings that I've gone to, everybody's been sick. Mrs. Voice of Reason's been down and out with it. Little Voice of Reason's been down and out with it for weeks. And then right as they start to increase, then I hit it. And it's been brutal. So, we will power through. Don't you worry. Welcome in. Bottom of the hour, we have Andrew Handel on the program. He is the, let me bring it up here. He was the Director for Education and Workforce Development at ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council. We've had them on before. Great organization as they promote conservative values at legislative, local, statewide legislative issues across the country. We'll talk with Andrew coming up at the bottom of the hour. He's going to talk about a bill coming out of Iowa regarding school freedom, school choice, as we are coming out of the last couple weeks being school choice awareness and school choice week, and trying to fight to bring fairness and equality and opportunity into our public education system. Where are we at in Iowa? Where are we at in Florida? Obviously, with Ron DeSantis going after the teachers' unions, a very, very good but very risky thing to do because of how much power the teachers unions actually have. So we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Tomorrow, I don't know if you're aware or not, or well, hopefully you have your drinking game in place, but tomorrow is the official State of the Union. Oh, yes, and we'll talk about what we could anticipate from Joe Biden once he gets hyped up on his steroids tomorrow for that one. But over the weekend, we have a lot to recap over the weekend as well, so let's jump into those issues as well, shall we? First and foremost,
trending today?
I have to complain for just a moment. I have to do my session for the weekend to recap. Obviously, outside of getting hit with this cold, which is driving me nuts because I hate being sick. I never have time to get sick, but yet it's hitting me viciously. Outside of that, was a little frustrated this weekend. Got to be honest. So Friday, I get out of work and I head home. Mrs. Voice of Reason, hey, can you stop at the grocery store, pick up a few things? Sure, why not? Stop, do it, which is great. I get back into my vehicle, doesn't start. Come on, man. Doesn't start. Now, here's the kicker. It had just gotten out of the shop literally the day before. I picked it up from the shop on Thursday evening. Friday, it doesn't start. That's what bugs me, I think, the most, was when you get it out of the shop and it's still broken for a different reason, but it's still broken. Come to find out, I think it's the starter, as the battery was replaced just a couple of months ago. I heard it crank about twice and then nothing. Trying to jump it, nothing. The biggest kicker was the auto shop was literally right across the street from the grocery store. So AAA comes out, feels bad even having to tow it because it's literally 500 yards away. They tow it over there, drop it off. The auto shop's not open till Monday. Cool. All right, guess we'll drive the other vehicle. I drive the other vehicle today, call the auto shop and say, hey, you've never worked with me before, but here you go. Hopefully you can deal with this. I think it's the starter. Hopefully it's an easy fix. They say, that's great, cool, we saw the vehicle, we're going to take a look at it. Haven't had a chance to look at it too in-depthly, but we did look under the hood this morning, and oh, by the way, your catalytic converter's been stolen. Yeah, there you go. Now, apparently in the city of Wichita, where I hail from with my flagship radio station, there's been a massive run for a good year or so on people trying to steal catalytic converters. And it's been in the news quite a bit, largely, though, due to, like, bigger trucks on those. So I don't know why they stole it out of my little bitty beat-up 1996 or 97 car that I have. Yes, it is my hoopty, is, you do the whole, trying to pay off stuff and, have a paid-off vehicle. But over the last 6 months, man, I put more money into this car than I think that car is actually worth, and I'm starting to question on whether I need to continue to do so for the paid-off vehicle or whether I just bite the bullet and get a different vehicle. I haven't decided yet. The catalytic converter is a little bit pricey, which, I mean, you do what you got to do, but at the same time, man, you start questioning, is it really worth it? Or do you get something a little bit more reliable? So that put me in a bad mood this morning, and then, of course, this head cold thing is not letting me think properly and think straight. So that was my weekend. Not that it was bad, don't mean to complain on here, but just had to get that off my chest a little bit because I can do that for you, and I appreciate you allowing me to release that tension. Now I feel much better. We can go into our Zen mode, and we can start moving forward. So coming up on the program today, again, Andrew Handel. This weekend, though, outside of that, did I not tell you to not watch the Grammys over the weekend, yesterday? Then I say, don't worry about it. I said on Friday, we're not going to watch it. I have no interest in watching it. All of the music on there is absolute garbage. I'm trying really, really hard not to be like the old get off my lawn kind of guy. Oh, music today sucks. Because there's some really good music out there, but none of it gets the awards. I've realized that all of the music that I enjoy is definitely on the lowdown, is definitely a little bit, quote unquote, underground. Because I like the very hard, edgy, double bass, growling, screaming, can't understand where they're screaming, singing. I enjoy that, and obviously, even in the rock and metal albums, that is not what's being nominated for Grammys in the country. The hardest rock album, which I guess was the best one for what was nominated, was Ozzy Osbourne getting the Rock Album of the Year, so that's cool, and I do enjoy Ozzy, probably more so the older stuff. He can't talk. I don't know how he can still sing, but man, he rocks it, and he does it, and he does a good job. His new album's a little bit more poppy than what I would enjoy, but nonetheless, there you go. Ozzy, that's about the only thing that I actually care about. Apparently, Beyonce broke the record for the amount of Grammys. No one cares because I don't even know a single Beyonce song in any way, shape, or form. But then, of course, you had the major controversy that happened on the Grammys over the weekend. And I'm sure even if you didn't watch the Grammys, you've heard about this already. And I'm curious on what your thoughts are with this. Was it as bad as they say? Now, I did watch a portion of the performance online today after hearing about it, of the satanic ceremony that happened at the Grammys. Now, I say that I say that with some reservation, although a little bit. Here's my explanation. I very, very rarely like to jump on board of like, that's the devil, just because it's a lot of times people throw that out there, kind of like how the left side of the aisle throws out Republicans are Nazis or Republicans are racist just because we have a certain ideology. There are many religious individuals that if something goes along with what they don't like, then they very loosely throw out the term it's satanic or it's of the devil. And I don't like to use those terms because I'm like, sometimes it's not. A lot of times it's just a different culture, it's a different tradition, it's a different whatever. But I have a hard time not saying that with the ceremony or the performance that happened during the Grammys, where the guy's wearing the red devilish hat. They're all dancing very erotically as he sings a song called Unholy, with a trans individual in a cage singing, which I guess they were supposed to be singing and parading the LGBTQ community and the trans individual. But you would think just by the PR of it, you wouldn't lock the transgender individual into a cage. I don't know. Maybe I didn't get the whole metaphor of what they were trying to go for, but I don't think you would want to lock in the transgender individual in a cage with a bunch of very provocatively dressed women around the cage using whips, dressed in red devilish outsuits as well, singing a song, Unholy. Now, it may be a popular song. I don't know. I don't listen to that type of music. I think anything that has an electronic beat is absolutely garbage, which is why I don't fit into the new age of 2023. Because if you're using an electronic beat, then that means that you have no talent to do it yourself, and you have to rely on the computers to do it for you. That is my humble opinion. Get into metal and see how intricate that stuff is. While people, that's just screaming, Andy. It's not actual music. It's just noise. See how intricate it is. There are proven studies that show that heavy metal and death metal music are equivalent in the brain waves and the intricacies on how it actually hits your ears and how it actually makes you think. It's comparable to classical music. I guarantee you can look up the studies. This garbage, though, is the same repetitive beat, and people that try to pretend like they sing really, really good. I don't know this song. I've never heard it in my entire life. I have no interest in listening to it. But even if it's a popular song, why would you sing that and get as provocatively dressed like that on a national broadcast of the Grammys? Not that I don't know what the ratings are and how many people actually tuned into it, but it really makes you think. And then, of course, there's the experts out there that are like, this is, of course, a satanic ritual. And here's the crazy part about it, is that according to Fox News, CBS, who hosted the Grammys over the weekend, they made a very interesting tweet. So Sam Smith, who's the performer in this, Sam Smith and the transgender individual, which I cannot think of his name, Kim Petras, who's a guy who wants to be a female. Kim Petras is the transgender individual. Those two performed it. And before the broadcast, as they were getting prepared for it, Sam, the main performer here, posted out some pictures of them practicing behind stage and said, this is going to be special. The weird part, where it gets a little funky, is that CBS, the actual broadcasting TV network that was broadcasting the Grammys, retweeted his tweet and said, you can say that again, we are ready to worship. Now, for those of a semi-religious stent in any way, shape, or form, that sees a performance wearing devil hats and red and very interesting metaphors, very interesting symbolism during this broadcast, that's concerned about some type of religious connotation of Satanism or worshiping the devil or whatever that people may believe this is, for CBS to retweet it and said, we are ready to worship, that's a little weird, man. That's just a little weird. Which is why I reiterate, I have no interest in watching the Grammys, and the fact that we're even talking about it burns me up right now because I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to know about it for a reason, but when things like this happen, it really makes you question on what the media is trying to push to you when it comes to Hollywood and performers and the just media in general with national networks promoting that type of garbage. On the other front, of course, we had the balloon that floated over the United States from China, right? China. Now, the military applauded themselves and patted themselves on the back for shooting it down after the mission, while it was in the Atlantic, after it did everything it needed to do flying across the United States, and then we shot it down, and now we're investigating and doing the recovery, trying to figure out what was actually in it, trying to investigate what it was doing, and we were apparently, according to the Daily Mail, the military, as they were doing the cleanup efforts of said balloon, they are concerned about explosives, as they were also looking at some of the spying technology that this balloon actually had. This is again why I'm scared, even with the issue with my car and having to get a new car. I don't want one of the new technologically advanced cars to where there's so many computer chips in it that you take it to a Geek Squad guy to fix it as opposed to an actual mechanic, because there are so many computers that could go wrong with this thing. I realize between the music, between the cars, between the technology and the spying and the lack of personal privacy and the lack of individual freedom that we have, I realize I've been born in the wrong time era. Can I just come out and admit it? I've been born in the wrong time. I don't like the computers. I don't like technology. I don't like the spying. And yet we can't get away from it because now we allow Chinese balloons to float over the country and just watch us and spy on us and look at everything we're doing, then shoot it down afterwards and pat ourselves on the back and say, no, it was actually good for us as well to look at their technology and monitor it while it's monitoring us. It's a win-win situation, is what the government and the Democrats and the Biden administration is trying to tell us now. It was a good thing we got as much out of it as they did, so it was okay for them spying on us.
It's the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Fighting for freedom every day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome into the program. 24 minutes past the hour. Radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. All right, I got the get off my lawn rant done. I had to vent there for just a minute on all the issues. It's a crazy world out there right now. I am getting some comments on the social media and the email regarding the Grammys on how concerned individuals are. Look, I mean, they're going to do the shock jock, and I get artists. They always try to be the shock jock, always try to step it up, gain the attention, get that 15 minutes of the spotlight, trying to sell records, trying to be popular. I get it. I know what they're trying to do. And sometimes I think there's a line that you just don't cross. And we've seen a few of these incidences over the last few years. Who was the rapper that had like the trampling stampede of individuals at his concert? I don't remember his name. Lil Nas X that also came out with his satanic shoes as well, with like the blood infused into the Nikes, and he sold 666 of them at $666. It's a gimmick for them to try and purchase these things, whether they're truly trying to worship the underground guy or not. That's what they're. I mean, it's what it's being portrayed as, because some people think it's hip and it's cool and it's retro. It's just stupid, and I don't care for it, nor do I care for the music anyway. So I wouldn't know about these things unless it actually hits the mainstream media. But yeah, the fact that the weird part is the fact that CBS actually came out and tried to play on it as well, because they enjoy these, which means one of two things: either they're doing it for the shock jock because there's so many people paying attention and listening that they think they can get a shock factor from this, or they just don't care. They just don't care. They're in their own world. They probably got a couple million individuals to watch the Grammys last night to see what artist won, because I couldn't probably name you more than 5 people on that entire list, and I probably don't even listen to any of their music except for Ozzy Osbourne. That's probably the craziest that they go. But so they either are trying to do the shock to get the attention like this, or they just don't care, and they're so big, almost like the too big to fail, they're going to do what they want to, and that's it. But it's a publicity stunt for the theater, for the artists that are trying to be artistic, and the art. Apparently, we've run out of all other ideas except for the shock jock on how far we can go to stretch that one. Now, regarding the balloon, as well as we continue to do the recovery efforts, they were concerned apparently not just about the spying, but as they're doing the cleanup, they're concerned about explosives along with the photographic material. Now, remember, we live in an age today where they were getting the live feed. It's not like we can just shoot it down and make sure they don't get the Kodiak film after they shoot it down, and we make sure, you can't have this, China, we're going to destroy it before you actually get it. They get this stuff in real time. So the fact that we allowed them to go through the entire country before shooting it down really shows that we don't care what information they're getting, while the Democrats and the government try to make this crazy excuse that it's just as beneficial for us to be spying on it while it floats over our country. Somehow that makes sense, and they've used that as the justification. Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary for the Department of Transportation, has also come out to say, well, there's going to be repercussions, don't you worry. Okay. And that's all you can say is, okay. It's the child saying, don't worry, I'm going to handle this. I'm going to clean up this mess. Okay. You do that. You do that, and then once you're done, then we'll pat you on the head and say it was very cute, and then we'll deal with it ourselves. There's also been the reports of during the Trump administration, they were critical of Trump saying we need to shoot it down because, well, it happened under your watch as well, where there was a balloon that went over Texas and went over Florida while the Trump administration was in office. This is a regular occurrence, and it's nothing out of the ordinary, but Republicans are making a big deal of it now because Joe Biden is actually in office. And I'm here to say, as someone who is conservative and as a registered Republican, I don't care what side of the political aisle it happens under. I don't care what quote-unquote information we can gain from watching a balloon fly over our skies, monitoring everything we do. I don't care. I don't want it to happen. And as I kind of went on my rant in the last segment with concerns about technology and surveillance and the lack of privacy and personal privacy, I want that back, and I don't care who's gaining what from it. If it's in our area, shoot the damn thing down. Don't allow it to happen. I would rather neither of us get information on each other than them watch everything we do and then us be like, well, it's done. Now we'll shoot it down. Aren't you proud of us after they completed their mission? We finished it. Come on, man. Andrew Handel, right around the corner after the here on the Voice of Reason. Stay
with
here.
Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast, become your own Voice of Reason, and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media.
Welcome to the Hooser Media Network. It's been a long time coming, and now it's growing bigger and better than we ever imagined. The Hooser Media Network is so much more than just the Voice of Reason. It's a network for you as a listener and you as a podcaster. It's a network for any kind of talk on any kind of topic, bringing podcasters together to give you a new way to think about the world, and it's any type of show from entertainment to educational. Check out all of our great programs, like Dr. Devin Verana with If They Knew.
Yeah, and it gives you tangible tools. I mean, I'm sure she just mentioned that some people might be mad at the government. I just can't imagine.
No.
I think there's a little bit of anger in the world these days, but I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, and he said, if you grab an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice every time, right? It's not going to be apple juice. It's never going to be mango juice. It's always going to be orange juice. So whatever is in us is going to come out when we're squeezed. And so I'm sure you're learning that, like, taking yourself through this process continually just adds more and more power, more and more depth of compassion and joy and freedom and all those good feeling things, because you're clearing that space out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Now take people, so for anybody listening out there that might have an object of anger, whether it's somebody or something or, objects out in the world these days, take us into some tactical, practical things that they can do. Number one, I'm sure, is to come see you, but what are some other things?
So I skipped that one on purpose when I was going through this, but the first book that changed my life, and I listened to it before I signed up for I listened to her 1 hour Zoom before I signed up for the class. She was interviewing a man who told us about a book called The Four Agreements. And so then when you get into the class, we study the book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. And we went through a process by Michael Brown called The Presence Process. These are all 3 books. And I hate to be this honest, but let me be this honest. You can read those 3 books and know everything I'm going to teach you. But like any good class, I mean, just because I signed up for a class in college, I buy the books. You really need someone to guide you through them.
That, plus tune into Spiritual Smorgasbord with Desiree and Cheyenne.
It is, and we talked about that because then, of course, other things started to happen after that. Of course, that was not my last doctor's visit, by no means. However, we talked about it, and I thought, our ancestors were so smart. They know, whatever ails us, there's a cure for on this planet. We're just not smart enough to know how to use it, but our ancestors were. We need to get back to that. Modern medicine, basically what that is it is what you get from the plant, the healing benefit, just on steroids with side effects.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, modern medicine is considered sexy. It's fast resolving. It's instant gratification. But, and so like plant-based formula, the raw, natural plant-based formula is what is going to work. It's going to be great. It just takes a while. And people want that instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of people
It's
try
been marketed
something.
to them that way too.
It
They're like,
has.
oh, that's the old way. It's going to take you forever. But if you just take this, you wake up tomorrow and you can have whatever you want.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know,
My leg is broken, but have some Oxycontin.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
Right.
dude, your leg is still severely broken. You just can't feel anything.
yeah. And it's like, so let's go to nature. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? There's pain relievers in nature. Marijuana is a great pain reliever.
Yes.
For one. I mean, you know, just
Mentally and physically.
yes. Well, I mean, you know, but there's other remedies out there. And everything that ails us, there's a cure for on this planet.
This whole room smells like peppermint.
We're all getting cured.
We're all
now.
getting cured right now. It's a beautiful essential oil I bought from a local, I guess you could say apothecary shelf, but I'm getting healed right now.
Yes, exactly. It is. And it's all around us. We just need to know how to look for it. And I'm sorry. But that's kind of what we were discussing. And that kind of was what started this whole journey. And what I'm very fortunate that, you know, my spouse and I are together on this. It's not just one of us having a spiritual journey. It's
Yeah.
that we're doing this together.
Listen to those shows and so much more on our website, where you can find live streaming, links to the podcast, links to social media, more content, and so much more. It's all online at HooserMedia.com.
When Reason Meets Radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. It is a Monday, greatest day of the entire week. Trying to start off the week right. That's what we do, baby. Welcome into the program. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch or listen to the program. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time on our multiple radio stations all over the place. Covered a lot of ground already. It's kind of a weird weekend as we talk about the Grammys, talk about that Chinese balloon. A lot more going on in Washington, D.C. we'll get to here in just a bit as well. The media trying to come after the Republican Party for using them now for their messaging, which is hilarious. They complain that we don't use them, and now they're saying, oh, look at that, Republicans are swarming back to the mainstream media to try and get their message across, which they should, but they should also be using their own platforms as well. We can get into that here in just a bit. Let's get into our What's Trending of the Day, though. What do you say?
What's trending today?
And really excited to have this guy on the program as we talk about just, what was it, last week, 2 weeks ago, was the school choice week, as we tried to fight back against some of the public education, trying to bring equal opportunity, not equal outcome, but equal opportunity when it comes to our public education system. Different states all over the country are battling this issue. The state of Florida has been making some news with Ron DeSantis going after some of the wokeism in public schools. Iowa has presented some interesting bills as well. Here in Kansas, we're trying. Been a struggle, but we'll talk about some of that here as we go throughout. We're excited to have this guy on the program, though. He's from ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council. He's the Director of Education and Workforce Development Task Force. Excited to have on Andrew Handel. Andrew, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Andy.
Yeah, really excited to have you on the program. Such a big issue, and I'm so glad that we're focused on K through 12 education. It's been long in coming because we haven't for years. We've kind of looked at it as a side issue. The teachers' unions have kind of dominated the discussion on schools. We just kind of go with the flow with the local school board, saying that we just need more money and we just need more regulations. But now I think over the last couple of years, and COVID-19 really kicked it into overdrive, we've come to this realization of, oh, wow, what's really going on in my schools, and why don't I have the opportunity to take my kids where the best school opportunities are? And I think many states are starting to wake up to this. What do you think?
Yeah, no, they are. 2 years ago, West Virginia kind of kicked it off, right after COVID. They got this program done called the Hope Scholarship Program. And it's a reimagining of how we fund public education, right? I mean, to your point, Andy, you mentioned for years we were kind of just going with the flow. The money was going to the public schools. It's usually a fixed formula, so they know how much they're getting year over year. And there's really no accountability there. It doesn't matter what their test scores are, how much their students are achieving. So in West Virginia, they kind of kicked this off with this universal program, or I should say potentially universal program, that simply allows the state education dollars to follow the student. So these dollars are no longer tied to a system. It's simply saying if a parent says a nearby private school is the best place for their child, then we're going to make sure that those dollars follow them there and, really make this happen. And then, last year we had Arizona, and then as you mentioned, National School Choice Week 2 weeks ago, we had Iowa and Utah join that list as well.
Wow. It is amazing. I remember this was a few years ago when former Governor Scott Walker from Wisconsin was all about this issue, and it was so bad of him pushing back against the teachers' unions and the public school system that they tried to recall him, 2 or 3 different times, which he was able to overcome the recall elections, but then lost in the general election for the regular election, which was kind of interesting. But it really drove home the power, I think, that many in the K through 12 public education system have when they can drive massive recalls to go against politicians that try to offer school choice and fight back against some of the bureaucratic power they have.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, going back to West Virginia, that was the site of the Red for Ed movement a few years ago. The teachers' unions went on strike, and, there was a lot of negotiations back and forth. Parents were obviously upset. The kids not being able to go to school for a period of time. But it's interesting because after the Red for Ed movement and after those teacher strikes, there was kind of a wave through the legislature, that really got a lot of pro-school choice candidates elected. And that was ultimately what led to the Hope Scholarship Program coming around. So, it is really interesting to see, sometimes the unions kind of overplay their hand, I would say. That was a perfect example. The reality is the American public is with school choice. This is something that just makes sense. And, right now we see over 70% of Americans support this concept of, the Hope Scholarship Program.
Yeah. I've had elected officials or ones that are trying to run for office on the program for years, and I've had on a Democrat from the Wichita area here a few years back. He was running for Congress. He was a big-time, very left-wing progressive socialist. He brought in AOC and Bernie Sanders at his rallies. And I had him on the program to talk about this issue, and he had told me, but he didn't give a reason why, but he said that private schools need to stay private, public schools need to stay public. We don't need some type of school choice where the money follows the children because that's just bad education, but he never explained why. Do you know why they fight against this so much? Is it purely because of the bureaucratic control and where the money goes for them to have the money going into the school districts they want it to? Or is it truly about divisiveness? Do they truly think the systems are better this way? What's the opposition to this?
Yeah, it's hard to tell, Andy. It's something like this really should make a lot of sense. But I think a lot of times opponents will try to kind of muddy the waters a little bit. And they'll try to say that, this is taking money from public schools and we should be pumping more money into our public schools instead. America, on average, looking at the inflation-adjusted numbers, we spend just over $15,000 per student per year. And in a lot of states, the education budget is easily their biggest category of any other spending area. So it's not a spending issue right now. It's just about realizing that the public school is not going to be the best school for every single student. You take a hypothetical third grader who suddenly starts getting bullied one year. The public schools tried everything they can to resolve it, but it hasn't worked. Now the student's falling behind. Why shouldn't the dollars follow that student to another private school where they're going to start achieving more and feel safer? It just makes sense.
It does make sense, yeah. We're talking with Andrew Handel, the Director of Education and Workforce Development Task Force at ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, which you can find online at alec.org and check out all the great stuff they're doing. Let's go to the state of Iowa for a second. You mentioned this one of this Bill 68, Students First Act, creating that Universal Education Savings Fund. We've tried that here in Kansas. We haven't been able to get there as of yet, but how would this work? Essentially, you just enroll your student at a certain school and the state just sends your taxpayer money to that school to say this kid's going to be registered here and it's all taken care of, or how does this work?
Yeah, well, even better, the state would send that money to you as a parent. So the idea behind these education savings accounts is making sure that the money can be used for more than just private school tuition. It can be used for testing fees, school uniforms, anything that's on this pre-approved list of education expenses, which typically is pretty expansive. you can use that money on any of those things. So it's all about putting parents first, putting students first, simply making sure that your taxpayer dollars are being used in the manner that you think is best.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't this create more competition in the market if there's a school where everybody wants to get out of it because the graduation rates aren't high, the test scores aren't high, the teachers don't really care? You know, there's a region and a reason why the parents are upset, and they say, you know what, I'm done with it. I'm going to take them to the private school or a charter school or even a magnet school or even just another public school around the area. If that happens, I mean, wouldn't that create the competition for the school to say, well, maybe I should hire better teachers, or maybe we should change the curriculum or do something different to maintain, because we want the parents to openly choose to stay here, or else we're going to be out of funds and have to close our doors.
Right. No, you're exactly right, Andy. It does create competition. And, you know, I think it says a lot, you know, when we see a lot of these, you know, public school bureaucrats and teachers unions opposing these school choice policies, you know, because you know, ultimately it is creating, you know, this competition in the marketplace. And frankly, if they were, you know, excelling and doing their jobs really well, then they shouldn't have anything to worry about, right? Parents won't leave.
Yeah.
If it's a great public school, parents will stay there. Nobody's saying, you know, when we implement these programs that you have to leave and go somewhere else. You know, it's simply about making sure that every student is in the best possible position to succeed.
Yeah. Equal opportunity, not equal outcome, which is what it's all about. We got just a couple of minutes here as we kind of wrap things up, but talk about the state of Florida. Obviously, Ron DeSantis, the governor down there, has made a big deal, and the media's all over this, of him going after the teachers, going after the public education system down there. Is it going to work, and could that maybe be the stair step for other states to try and do some implementation to change the way that the public education works as well?
Yeah, you know, definitely. I think, you know, Florida's been a national leader in education policy for a number of years, going back to the Jeb Bush days. And, you know, Governor DeSantis certainly, you know, is viewed as a national leader on this stuff today as well. So, you know, Florida actually in the legislature right now, they've got one of those education savings account programs that's being debated. It's supported by the governor, supported by the Speaker of the House. So, you know, hopefully the odds are good that it'll get across the finish line. But, yeah, you know, I think, you know, Governor DeSantis is really forcing people to rethink and reimagine how we go about public education, and, you know, simply making sure that these controversial, you know, ideas like critical race theory and other things, you know, if the parents don't want them there, then, you know, simply making sure that, you know, those ideas, you know, are going elsewhere.
Yeah, maybe we can start seeing some of the policy change. We don't need CRT, and we don't need some of the woke sex talk with our elementary school kids. That's the fact that we've gone to that point shows the level of quality we have, not in all public education, but in many aspects as well. It is Andrew Handel of the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC. You can find him online, alec.org. Find him online. Andrew, we appreciate the time very much, my friend. Happy New Year to you. Let's get you back on again soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Andy.
Hey, appreciate it very much. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back, recap some of that when we come back here on a Monday. Lots more to get to here on The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to The Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring The Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends, or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hoosier Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the Voice of Reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like so you can watch all of their live streaming content, including ours right here with the Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of the Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it, we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hoosier Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosier-holic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hoosier Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, OurFreedomBook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is the Voice of Reason.
Fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Boy, oh boy, show moving right along here. Thanks again to Alex Handel coming on the show. Alec, the American Legislative Exchange Council, wonderful organization. We love them to death as they are one of the bigger think tanks in Washington, D.C., helping legislators around the country with certain agendas trying to promote that conservative values. That's what it's all about, baby, and we appreciate them very much. We'll get them on the show again real soon, especially with school choice, focusing on the youth of America, trying to properly educate them. See what I did there? My proper education. There it is. All right. As we move through the day today, I hate this. You try and go to a website, and then, of course, you need to register and sign up for this, and it's driving me absolutely nuts. There's so much more that we need to get to. Tomorrow is the President's State of the Union address. What do you expect out of it? Probably not a whole lot. We're going to play our drinking games here on the Voice of Reason as we speculate on what Joe Biden's going to say. He's the guy still out there saying the economy's doing wonderful, and there will be no recession, and gas prices are lower than they've ever been before, and that they're awesome, and that we have the best economy ever, and that we've created all these jobs because we've created 10 million jobs. Did you hear? Yeah. The lie after lie after lie, but that's what we get to look forward to coming from that. So I don't know how much attention or focus you'll put into it. Obviously, we'll recap it here on the program on Wednesday as well. But the Republicans need to continue to focusing on their PR, on getting the message out more so than just talk radio, although that is a big factor to it, and hopefully more elected officials continue to come on the program because we need them to come on as you, the activist Republican conservative out there. You want to hear what they had to say, but they need to continue to get to the mass media or the mass general population as well, outside of just the activist conservative that listens to talk radio as much as I love you here. We need to get the other ones that don't pay attention, the ones that don't know what's going on, because all they hear is one side of it. And while the media may try to twist what we have to say, we have to do our part in actually trying to get that message out there. And Republicans so far, I think, have done a better job of that this session in the first month already than what we have in the past few years. We really did go down this road of they're lying to us, we don't want them anyways, we're not even going to go on their shows to talk. And I get that argument. Totally understand it. I don't want to go on there when they just try to bombard you and berate you anyways either. Totally understand. At the same time, when we can hold our own, remember, we win in the realm of ideas. We win when it comes to philosophy, when it comes to the constitutional talk. We win every time it actually comes to policy. We dominate. There's no question about it. They can try and hype up their socialist agenda all they want to, but as soon as you start talking constitutional powers, then you realize the entire argument goes out the window. So everything they say of what they want to do, they can't. Which is why they've conveniently changed the terminology from constitutional republic to democracy. See how that works? Because in a democracy, then it's the majority rules. And as long as the 51% believe to take away the lollipop from the 49% and they vote on it, then they can do that. The problem with a democracy is that it goes against our constitutional values because the Constitution specifically says what rights individuals have, what rights the state governments have, what right the federal government has. And it gives very specific duties. And if it's not specifically mentioned in the Constitution on what the government can do, it defaults down to the state levels. And the state level constitutions really regulate a lot of what you can do on the daily basis, but then you still have your Bill of Rights on what you as an individual have the right to do. Prime example is the Second Amendment. You have the right to keep and bear arms and it shall not be infringed. Period. End of story. The whole concept, theoretically, in a purist mentality, the entire concept of the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosive department is unconstitutional. In a theoretical sense, because you have the right to keep and bear arms and it shall not be infringed. Period. End of story. Therefore, any regulation beyond the right for you to keep and bear arms is unconstitutional. Now, obviously, that's in a purist world. We're not going to get back to that purist world ever again because of how big the government is. But with California coming out, wanting to put more government regulations on firearms, and calling it a democracy and saying that, well, 70% of the American people want more government control on regulations on guns because we want more gun restrictions as opposed to gun rights, doesn't matter. 99% of the American population can say that they want more government restriction on firearms. Doesn't matter because that's the difference between a democracy and mob rule and constitutional protections to where we don't give a crap what you think if it violates the Constitution because we have guaranteed rights. That is why we win on the arguments whenever it comes up in a legitimate debate, which is why conveniently Democrats don't like to debate. So Republicans continue to get that message out, even if you get berated on mainstream media, because we will win in the realm of ideas and will expose the Biden administration for the crap they're spewing, saying that they've created some 10 million jobs, how the economy's not going into a recession, how social media and technology companies aren't laying off thousands of people all over the country. Keep telling yourself that, buddy. We'll talk some more about that tomorrow for the State of the Union. Until then, be your own voice of reason. This is the Voice of Reason. Happy Monday to you. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the voice of reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the voice of reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own voice of reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media.